It's time to go balls deep.
The EA Sports College Football Headquarters Podcast.
Hey, I like that. You do that kind of like the EA Sports guy, like the It's in the Game guy.
I'm really trying. It's
Yeah.
bad fan fiction or voice fiction, but
Yeah, dude.
I'm aiming for it.
Yeah, that's not too shabby. That's a nice addition. Every week, this podcast gets a little bit better.
That's right. We're spending big money here.
Yeah, that's right. One day it'll almost be passable as entertainment.
Yeah, I think I sank lunch into this one so that we could produce it.
Yeah, dude, got some Hawaiian food for lunch. That was quite good.
Yeah, I ate too much.
All right, so today's, hopefully we don't do like super wet burps into the mic. Unless that's your kink, in which case, maybe we will.
And we don't kink shame here on the podcast.
Yeah, that's right, we do not. Yeah, there's been enough hot piss talk to get that well established at this point. All right, so we've talked on the podcast previously about the reason our Facebook group exists, why it was created, is because we wanted a good outlet for our creative work. We got... we'd been playing NCAA 14 for like 10 years, 8 years, whatever it was. And to keep it interesting, we started telling each other stories. And then we were in another Facebook group and started telling those stories on that Facebook group. And they were reasonably well received, I think mostly because there was nothing else going on.
Yeah, there was a gulf of not so good storytelling going on there. So.
Yeah, well, and the game had not done anything new, except for like revamped.
That came after. Than when we joined.
Right, so it had been a long time, and there wasn't anything going on. And so we kind of filled this vacuum, filled this space with our own stupid stories. And we started getting pushback from the moderators on that page. At that time, I think I was telling a story about Coach Gordon Shumway. So Alf, from the old TV show Alf, and dude, it was such a fun story. He was on the run from the Alien Task Force. Those were the people, I looked this shit up so that I could tell the story. The Alien Task Force was the people on the show who were always chasing him down and trying to capture him. And they believed, that the Tanners were harboring this alien. And so...
Was Will Smith part of that?
No, otherwise they would have caught him.
They should have had Tommy Lee Jones, but we found a way to put him into that story anyway.
We did, That's true, yeah. So anyway, they're chasing Alf down, and so he goes on the run and winds up in Moscow, Idaho, somewhere where people will never look for him, and he just needed work, and he wanted to be somewhere invisible, and so he took a job as the equipment manager of the Idaho Vandals.
Which, on that game, was by far the worst team on the game, and I think their little, what's their stadium called?
Oh, the Kibbe Dome.
Yeah, holds like 94 people, I think, total, including members of the team. Yeah, it's a fucking shed.
Yeah, dude. And, I mean, I miss it from that game because that was always the team. Like, dude, if you really want a challenge and you ain't
you gotta
winning games,
take Idaho.
Take on Idaho. And sadly, they're not in the game anymore. So now you got to do like Buffalo or Kennesaw State.
Yeah, or
like
maybe
that.
Somebody will make a team builder. And they could bring Idaho
there's got to be people have made Team Builder.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out.
Yeah. So anyway, I'm telling this story, and it's so fun because I start creating this backstory around it. Like Alf is on the run. He winds up. The whole coaching staff gets fired, and he's the last man left standing. And so they ask him if he'll coach the team. And he doesn't want to do it because he doesn't want the exposure. But when they offer him an unlimited dining pass to Vandal Village, which, by the way, is the name of the dining hall there.
This actually exists for authenticity.
Then he decides, well, I can't pass up the dining pass. And that makes him, because of how much he eats, the highest paid coach in the NCAA. And he's still trying to keep a low profile, which went along with how I was playing, because we just kept losing. And, dude, it was so fun. And so there becomes these questions. When you're writing stuff like this, the question comes up of well, how come the Alien Task Force hasn't closed in on him yet?
Sure.
What is keeping Alf safe? And so I decided that what's keeping him safe is his little buddy, Brian.
Yeah, from the show. Who was
from the show.
I think 10 when they filmed that show or something like that. Skinny little white kid.
Yeah, and so I decided that Brian knew that Alf was in mortal danger, and so he hatched this plan where he was going to be Alf's secret protector. Mm-hmm. And he started taking martial arts classes and becomes this highly trained assassin and takes drugs that keep him from aging. And so in this writing that I'm doing that takes place, 10 years ago or 5 years ago or whatever, Brian
is still
a little kid.
He's like Brian fucking Bourne from
exactly.
Bourne Identity.
So he shows up at Alf's doorstep, and is like trying to protect Alf from the alien task force, but he still looks like a little kid. And so I was able to use like the pictures from the show as Alf and Brian interacting. But then in the storytelling, he's like this crazy assassin.
One of the things I really loved about that is how we kept coming up with these insane ways to kill people that looked somehow accidental. Like they would fall into like a tiger pit in the middle of Moscow, Idaho. Right. Because there's a lot of tiger pits there.
Yeah, or the guy like gets into his car, like the sheriff is asking questions and starting to get suspicious, and then he gets into a squad car and there's like 10,000 killer bees in the squad car.
Yeah, it's good stuff.
Yeah, oh dude, all these accidents. Yeah. Oh dude, so that was really fun. So at the same time, Anthony is doing his own series.
Yeah, I was doing a Coach Toast, which I did as just a defensive coordinator because on that page, everybody always just did head coaches. Yeah. And I thought, well, that'd be kind of fun is I'll only do a defensive coordinator series. And so I brought Coach Toast from my Cannonballs Our Road to Glory series. It was a side character there. And I figured, I'll do, a spinoff. Yeah. And so I brought him in and went to...
We got to step back, though, because Cannonballs is where you first started getting in trouble with the moderators.
Oh, yeah, because I did a cuck episode where Cannonballs...
A Road to Glory quarterback.
Yeah, my Road to Glory quarterback had not been able to get to the Rose Bowl because we lost to USC.
Right, he was playing in Arizona.
Yeah, and in the storyline purposes, the SC coach... who I think was Lincoln Riley at the time.
That sounds right.
Was talking shit about how Cannonballs can't win the big one and all this different stuff. And so USC went to the Rose Bowl, and I thought what would be a funny story is if Cannonballs had somehow hacked into the Rose Bowl Jumbotron, and I had him fucking Lincoln Riley's wife as the halftime show. Right. And so I'd written this whole episode, and it wasn't real graphic. It was just that he was banging Lincoln Riley's wife. Right. And they banned me, actually. That was they insta-banned me.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
Good job.
I'd started talking to one of their moderators or maybe their administrator or whatever, and I'd convinced him to let me back in, and I said, hey, I'll edit it. So I wound up having to edit that episode, so it never got the play. But that was by far the first time I'd gotten pushback, and I didn't even think it was that bad. It wasn't graphic where he went ass to mouth on Miss Lincoln Riley, right? Even or anything like that. Yeah, it was implied that he did go ass to mouth. Yeah. But yeah, it wasn't there, and so from that point on, I was on their radar, right? And I really had to start becoming even more clever.
Well, and they also had a reasonable expectation that the stuff we posted would be at least tangentially related to the game.
Well, and it was at that point. Cannonballs was nothing but game content. Yeah, right. But I did start to kind of branch out and to do these different things, because Mike Martz was my coach at Arizona, and he was always I'd turn him into this babbling drunk degenerate. Who would never even show up to games. He'd be out golfing. Yeah. And I remember I did an intervention episode that was set in Salt Lake City, Utah, where he was butt chugging tequila. And that was one of my more popular episodes because apparently butt chugging wasn't something that a lot of people knew about it. So I figured, let's educate them. And so they could learn that, when you do butt chug, dude, your intestines and everything really absorb that alcohol. So so there you go. And so I ended up getting a lot more pushback and a lot more. Right. But yeah, it was eventually. I think it wasn't necessarily the straw that broke the camel's back, but it was damn close. It's
So with having these characters, it's obviously it's not really Mike Martz. We know nothing about Mike Martz.
I like to think it was pretty accurate.
Maybe it was, right?
He had this obsession with calling timeouts.
Yeah, so that's something that always stuck with us from back when he was coaching the Rams. Is he was not shy about calling timeouts just in the middle of the third quarter if he didn't like the play setup.
Sometimes back to back.
Yeah, he would. And so we somehow got it in our head he must be drunk and just doesn't even realize what he's doing. And then it just took on a life of its own. And dude, the drunk Martz character
was one of the everybody's like favorite character.
Yeah, it was so fun. And he would just let Cannonballs, the quarterback, just do whatever he wanted. And that's where the YOLO offense came
that's right.
from.
Yeah, which I like to think influenced modern day college football offenses. Is they must have been watching, because I called it the YOLO spread.
Yeah.
And basically I had enough coach trust that I could audible and hot route everything. Right. So I never even called plays. I would just, everything would become an audible and then hot routes. Yeah. And it was like fucking bombs away. Like, as often as I could, throwing for like 500 yards, 7 touchdowns. And the legend of Cannonballs was definitely born.
All right, so we've gone back now. We've laid out who Cannonballs is. Now we go forward to Coach Toast.
Guy.
So what's his relationship with Toast?
So Toast in the Cannonballs series was basically, if you ever saw that movie Radio, he was like basically that character, except he carried around a toaster. And I think we talked about, I gave him like Tourette's syndrome and a few other things. He had like these tics. But anyway, he was like, what the fuck's the guy from the Patriots? The Bill Belichick. He was like a Bill Belichick football like savant, right? Yeah. And so he was a defensive coordinator, and I gave him his own series, and he went to Buffalo. And so right away, the team was fucking ass. Just cheeks.
Right. So this is, just to make sure it's clear, this is a minor character from the Cannonball series who then gets his own spin-off as the defensive coordinator for the Buffalo Bulls.
Yes, the Buffalo Bulls. Yeah. And so the team was bad, but I was just playing the offense or the defense, sorry. Yeah. And the offense was terrible. So we were losing a lot of games because we couldn't fucking score. Yeah. Even though I might hold somebody to like 14 points, I'd lose like 15-14. Right. You know, it just didn't matter. And so anyway, as I knew eventually that I would get better and better because I was doing recruiting for the defense and things like that I came up with an idea to have a female recruiting coordinator that I used as, I picked some like super hot Instagram model. Like Instagram model who she would always post these pictures in like nothing but bikinis or like booty shorts, and she had huge fucking tits. And I was like, what 17-year-old high school senior is going to say no to her? Right. You know, and so sex sells. Yeah. And so I start using her in the story and posting pictures.
Right. Coach Camilla.
Coach Camilla, yes. And so as Coach Camilla gets posted, if you go back...
Now, I got to interrupt for a sec, because a lot of this is done... What makes this storytelling fun is it's in response to what's actually happening in the game.
Sure.
Because now you're starting to get some decent recruits. And like you really have to... As you're playing the game, like, dude, I really got to focus on recruiting. We got to get better talent in here. And when that starts to happen, that's also where Coach Camilla comes in. Yeah. Because now, how are we getting this better talent?
Oh, basically through use of her butthole. And so, exactly. she's flashing the butthole, and these kids are saying yes, and they're now suddenly flocking to Buffalo to play football. Yeah. And so because that's such a hot recruiting bed of talent there. But a little bit of a little bit of starfish goes a long way, right? And so anyway, so I'm posting these pictures, and she's fully clothed in every one of them because it's like straight from her Instagram account. Yeah, yeah. And the fucking moderators there lost their minds. Like, I swear to God, they must have been like just, I don't know, like fucking Pollyanna or something like that. Right. Where they threatened to ban me again. They're like, you can't use her as a character. I'm like, you're telling me I can't use a female character? Right. And I have still in my messages, I could go back and read the back and forth that I had with this one moderator who I'll just call Fuckface. Yeah. Yeah. And Fuckface was so against it because his wife was offended. I'm like, first off, why is your wife on our fucking football page here anyway? Right? What is she doing? And two, who gives a fuck? One more woman than we have in the exactly. Like, page. Dude, I think we actually do have some, but I don't think any of them ever posted anything. Maybe one. Right. So they started to try to ban me for that, and then eventually that was when we decided it was time to go.
Yeah, we got to just go do our own thing.
Yeah, and so here we are. Right. We created the headquarters Our third birthday is coming up. It's in October.
Kidding.
Yes.
Oh, how about that?
Yeah, we'll have to get together, sing happy birthday to the headquarters with 73,274 people.
As we record this, yeah. It's probably over more than that.
We should reduce it because I'm counting the 85 Nigerians as part of our population, even though I'm trying to hunt them down. Yeah. News on that contest coming later.
Yeah, that may be a future contest. And so Anthony and I have kept going with the content creation.
Yes.
And writing other stories, and stories that we're working on have their roots still in 14. Because, go ahead.
There's a story that I want you to talk about, some of your writing.
Okay.
And it's a story that you're working on, not so much as we speak.
I know,
but that you're turning into your first novel.
Yep.
And it's Coach Raw. It's a story that you did on our page.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's their start to almost finish on our page because you kind of dropped the ball there. Yep. But I love that story. I love the idea of it. Right. I love the character, specifically the character Zeus. Tell me, or tell the audience here about Zeus.
Yeah, so in broad strokes, Coach Ra is the sun god Ra, the Egyptian sun god Ra, who is bored in the celestial plane and is bored with being God. Nothing ever happens. And it's been a long time since he's been worshipped. And so he decides to come back to Earth.
Yeah, he's damn near homeless at this point, right?
Yeah, because he's kind of riding on old glory.
Yeah, exactly.
But nobody sent a prayer to Ra in a long time.
Sure.
And so he decides...
Motherfucking Copernicus, that's why.
Yeah, fucking Copernicus and his heliocentrism taking the rug right out from under Ra.
But anyway, go on.
Yeah, so he gets convinced to become a college football coach because college football coaches are worshipped.
The whole idea is so fucking stupid.
It is stupid.
I love it though.
But that's a good way to get worshipped.
Yeah.
Because trying to start another religion, that's too much work.
I love how the main way to solve all of our problems is just become a college football coach.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So he goes down, he takes over, in the original story, it was Utah State, because that's who I was using in 14. And what's great about Utah State is it's this Mormon school.
Yeah.
And so...
How Mormon is it?
It's not as Mormon as BYU.
Is it as Mormon as, say, Utah?
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's probably comparable.
No, I mean like the
Utah University. Yeah, probably.
So we're like on even ground with them, but below BYU.
It's plenty Mormon-y.
Okay.
It's plenty Mormon-y. So anyway, and I make hay with that in the story, but you asked me about Zeus.
Yeah, Zeus is my favorite character
so what happens
from that story.
Is that it doesn't go well.
Sure.
Ra doesn't win games because he doesn't know shit about coaching football.
Yeah.
And so he's losing, which again mirrors what's happening to me as I'm playing the game.
Yes.
We're losing. And so for season 2, he's got a plan.
Yeah.
I'm getting the crew back together.
Yeah.
The God Squad. And so he gets with his old friends, all these other gods. He gets Vishnu, he gets Quetzalcoatl, he gets all these different people, but the big one is Zeus.
Yeah, that's like really his big catch because everybody knows Zeus.
Right.
Not too many people on the Quetzalcoatl fucking bandwagon.
Right, and even less like Freya and all these other gods that I come up with. And just like with the other shit, dude, I totally researched these gods
I know,
and what they do.
Big on authenticity.
And I'm real big on that. So anyway, but Zeus, like in mythology, his primary personality trait is being a horn dog.
Yeah, he likes to fuck.
Yes, he does, and he fucks anything.
Including his own family, right?
Oh, mainly his own family. Yeah. It doesn't matter the family relation. It doesn't matter the species.
Dude, this story might play good in the SEC.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, I like that. Yeah. So anyway, so Zeus gets onto the college campus at Utah State.
Yeah.
And he fits right in. Yeah, he loves it. Yeah, and so like the very first practice, he's just like over on the side of the practice area just staring at the cheerleaders. And like, oh my God, I can't believe like how the world has changed since I was here last. Have you guys heard of these things called leggings? They're unbelievable.
Yeah.
And then like, he goes and watches women's soccer practice and the diving practice. He figures out where the women's locker room is. And then there's
field hockey. He's all over the place.
All over it. Yeah. And then like, dude, he calls a special meeting once he discovers women's volleyball.
Nice.
These women are like modern day Amazons. It's unbelievable. And so that's like Zeus's whole personality. But he's also sweet and, believe it or not, respectful of these women. Like, there's always consent. And dude, who wouldn't consent to fuck Zeus? And he's
got that lightning rod.
Yeah, that's right. He's got his lightning rod, and it shoots out his Zeus juice.
Yeah, or the god goo.
Yeah, the god goo, the Zeus juice. Yeah, all that. Oh, dude, it's so fun. And so anyway, Zeus winds up falling in love.
But with who?
With this Mormon girl.
Yeah, but where did you get her from?
Oh, dude, from the crowd shots in NCAA 14, yeah, the cut scenes. And there was this one, like the people in the crowd now and the cheerleaders, they don't look good.
No, some of them have like mustaches now.
Yeah. But dude, on 14, they look pretty good.
Yeah, they spent a lot of time there.
And there was this one chick in the crowd who I'm like, oh, okay, that's Stacy.
Yeah.
That's the one who Zeus has the hots for. And it becomes this really sweet story of
this
Zeus,
love
like,
story.
Yeah, trying to woo Stacy.
Yeah.
And he's like, dude, I fucked Aphrodite, but Stacy makes me nervous. And
because she won't put out.
Yeah, because she won't put out, right? And that's a big part of their courtship, because Zeus fucks everybody.
Yeah.
Every time. Like, at one point, he turned into a swan, which is also drawn from mythology, goes into the women's swim and dive practice, and impregnates the entire swim and dive team. Yeah, as a swan. And, but Stacy...
down the road, I think there's a story... of Zeus's kids. He's like what's his name? That guy remember that Cromartie? The fucking or he's a modern day who's the guy just got pulled over? No, the guy from Tyreek Hill got like 10 kids.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, Zeus is gonna make that guy look like a fucking a virgin.
Yep, exactly. Yeah, and there is a sequel book that's gonna go in that direction.
Yeah.
So, dude, it's so fun. So anyway, because what Stacy would tell him is, my body is a temple, and you don't have a temple recommend.
Oh, God.
Because if you're Mormon, that's a thing. Mormonism is like, you have to go to the temple, and you have to get recommended by your bishop. And if you're not Mormon, you don't have a temple recommended. So that's the thing that they say.
It's amazing that this story about a college football video game that you were playing, this is the stuff we're talking about. That's how good that story was. Dude. Is that, it is a rich, deep story.
Dude, it's going to be like a 60,000 word novel.
You should start bumping that thing one episode at a time.
Right? I know.
And start getting some of these members here to read it, because it's that good. It's funny.
Yeah. So Zeus wants... At one point, Stacy tells him, Zeus, I think we're ready to take our relationship to the next level. And so Zeus is like, fuck yeah, we're ready.
Oh, yeah.
And so he goes and talks to Ra. And he's like, hey, Stacy said that we're going to take our relationship to the next level. And Ra's like, wait a minute, you haven't fucked yet? And Zeus is like, no, she won't fuck me. And it's like, well, what the hell's the next level? And the next level is...
Jump humping?
Jump humping.
Yeah.
If you are not familiar with this, yes, this actually does happen on Mormon campuses, maybe elsewhere too. It came out of what was called soaking. So with soaking, I know, it's all
dude, you're going to have to, there's almost a whole episode we could do on just how to fuck as a Mormon.
Yeah, so, dude, fucking bagpiping. Maybe that'd be
dude, bagpiping, in case you're wondering, is when you fuck a chick's armpit.
Yeah.
So,
Right.
I wonder if she plays, though. Like, does
probably.
she flap that wing?
Yeah, she should.
Yeah.
So anyway, so soaking is where you just stick your dick in, but you don't thrust.
You don't move.
Yeah, you don't move. You just stay still. And so if you're not...
That would be enough for me anyway.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. Dude, the Mormon chicks are hot.
Yeah.
So if you're not thrusting, you're not fucking. And if you're not fucking, you're not violating the honor code. And obviously...
I think that honor code's got some holes in it.
Oh, it's got a hole, all right. Yeah, but it's not the usual loophole, which is just the back door. I guess that one's covered. So anyway, if you're not thrusting, then you're not fucking. And so you're good.
Yeah.
Now, if you happen to be soaking and somebody just breaks into the room and starts jumping on the bed...
That happens all the time.
Yeah, causing you to like jostle around... You can't help that.
Yeah.
I didn't do that.
You just gotta hold on, right?
Yeah, you're just along for the ride. Yeah, it would be rude to tell the person to stop.
Yeah.
Until you finish.
Sure.
And then you can tell us. So anyway, that's what jump humping is. And so Zeus enlists Ra
to help him jump on the bed.
Hump. Yeah, Ra, will you come and jump on the bed while Stacy and I are soaking?
I think the best part of that is that Stacy's not getting anywhere. Yeah. She's not getting off, so she makes him chop his feet.
Yeah, like tells Ra, like, can't he jump any faster? Come on, Ra, chop those feet.
Yeah, so good. Stacy's a whore.
Yeah, and then Zeus is like, come on, Ra, step on my ass.
Oh my God. Well, Al, we're going to have to talk more about this story on another episode.
Oh, good time.
For sure. But hey, I heard that one of our sponsors came through big this week. Can you tell us about it?
Dude, absolutely. So we are sponsored by the He Held On Foundation. I know we've mentioned them before, and I have some ad copy that I want to read. So here goes. 91-year-old, let me move the microphone here. All right, here we go. 91-year-old Cecilia Arredondo, start over. 91-year-old, got to give our sponsor a proper read. 91-year-old Cecilia Arredondo always dreamed of being in show business. And thanks to the tireless efforts of the He Held On Foundation, this item was checked off her bucket list in front of a joyful crowd of family and friends. Cecilia rolled onto the stage at the Winston-Salem Cultural Center in a wheelchair pushed by her 29-year-old great-great-granddaughter. With a little help, she was strapped into the Wheel of Death and set to spinning. Yeah, so the Wheel of Death, if you're not familiar with it, it's the, do you know what the Wheel of Death is?
Yeah, it's from like the old style carnival type shows where they would put a woman on a wheel and like spin it.
Right.
And then somebody's going to throw knives at him or
maybe
shoot at him or something.
Yeah, all right, so getting back to the copy. So she was strapped into the Wheel of Death and set to spinning. It was a touching moment as grandnephew Frank Popper donned his blindfold and started chucking knives. Popper's first 2 throws went wide of the wheel, but the third found its mark, right next to Cecilia's left shoulder. She never even flinched, having gone unconscious after the first few revolutions of the wheel.
Centrifugal force is a bitch when you're not.
It is, yeah. You don't have the blood pressure to keep it all where it should be. So anyway, after the first few revolutions of the wheel, knife number 6 is believed to be the strike that actually killed Cecilia, puncturing her aorta. So it's unlikely she ever felt knives 8, 9, 11, 12, and 14.
You know, the aorta is one of those real bad ones. Like, if you nick it, it like spurts blood.
Yeah. Luckily, at this place, there was a Gallagher 2 concert the week before, and they still had the plastic tarps in the first couple rows.
Well, that's good.
So, yeah, I think everybody was fine. It was just dumb luck, probably. So, anyway, she never felt knives 8, 9, 11, 12, and 14. We should all be so lucky. After the show, Popper expressed his condolences to her assembled family and his thanks to the He Held On Foundation for making it all possible. Granny C was a star, Popper said, and now she's in the stars. Yep, that's
He Held On. Those guys are amazing.
Yeah, they do good work.
Yeah,
good work. Helping old people get their bucket list dreams before they finally shuffle off into the great beyond. So thank you to He Held On. Thank you guys for listening, and we will catch you all next time.